Good morning, everybody. It's Imaginary Dreams once again with day 27. Ooh, we are getting very close. Just one more day left, and I'll be still deciding what to do right after this. I have a plan, but I would like to do a review of the entire month. But that's a topic and video for another time. But the guys at Love Life Drawing have already done a revision of the entire month. So I'll be looking forward to see what is their day 28 video. Maybe it might be about future Figuary, but Figuary is basically a mixture of figure and February into one word. So March might be something different, a different theme, or you know, something else. But today's model again is of the very muscular person, and as most people would say, it's best to try to um, study drawing from muscular people, both males and females, since we get to see the shape and form of the muscle. And if someone's a little bit more chubbier, then we would just add a layer of fat on top. Sort of basic premise. Again, I'm no teacher, but the general idea, once again, is that best to learn drawing and anatomy in general through muscular shaped people. And this guy's really, really good. But with that said, let's get straight into the drawing. And so, starting with the first pose, we have this sort of standard. It's starting to feel like a standard pose. Doing so many figure drawings every single day, um, I'm starting to get the feeling of like, starting to feel like similar poses, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. It's just like, even though it might be the same, it's still sort of trying to work and exercise the familiarity to keep drawing. But again, the same pose, and I think this one came out a little bit alright. Now that I'm able to compare again, this leg angle is a little bit higher than this one is sort of pointing down, and because it's pointing down, not really able to get the proper length where this the original photo is much longer. But I think the calf and the leg going down here is relatively good. Moving on, had a little bit of trouble where sort of this arm is underneath and being hidden by the external leg coming outwards. I think it is again due to the measurement or the mismeasurement of the shoulder width, since it's not going long enough, and also actually the height of the knee isn't quite tall enough. Let me try to sort of draw a line over, and it's like, yeah, it's not quite there in terms of length, and the foot is sort of relatively um, accurate. But yeah, so I did sort of started with this leg and noticed like, oh, it's not really long enough because the arm isn't being hidden. So I tried to add another, but even then it needs to go even higher. So I sort of did not exaggerate or even draw the pose sort of accurately, and thus also this sort of calf. Here, this person has really sort of large calves. Um, if we were to compare the other sort of black male model who has sort of smaller calves, but it's still very muscular once again, but just slightly smaller calves. Now that I see a little bit clearly, the arms are slightly bent more. This one is sort of more straight down. So a few angles, arm angles needs more improvement in the future. Moving on, we have sort of this pose. And the first thing to sort of see is that his shoulder and sort of waist are like pointing in sort of, let's say, the opposite direction. If I were to just use arrows on like the back side, where are they pointing to? And so we have the shoulder starting here, but then it's twisting here. But the other side, we can presume is somewhere here. It's still blocked, we cannot really see it, but it's sort of somewhere here, and then it's twisting up here. And so try to, one of the bigger shapes that we can sort of show that is, once again, is due to this sort of chest area where one side we only see very little of it here, but then we see a whole lot on this side. um, Whether it's actually accurate in the drawing is my own mistake, but that's sort of the thought process. I think it's a little, maybe I do feel like there must be some way to indicate this, but within a 1 minute drawing, um, I'm really sort of at a loss. Just personal limits of like knowledge um, in other shapes, I think, for like the middle part of the body, besides just drawing like average lines of curvature. um, but yeah, but because of the angle, again, this sort of arm needs to be blocked a little bit more. I sort of drew a little bit too much and sort of lost the angle on the back side. I think the elbow here needs a little bit more definition so that it can show that it's going inwards instead of just a side view of the arm itself. Kind of lost a little bit of space at the bottom, not enough space here, but I think the leg is fairly quite close in its accuracy. The folds on the knee joint should be a little bit higher. And in the first sketch I went a little bit too low and had to fix that quickly, and like showing that the knees has more bones inside, whatever cartilage and the connections of the two bones needs the space, to like connect to each other inside. And thus this is a little bit too exaggerated, but at least it's so much better than having it too small, for now, I think, at least for this drawing and the time that I had to draw. It sort of too small, but there's sort of bigger issues that I wanted to talk about. This one is another very sort of cool pose. You can just clearly see a very straight line. We sort of could draw a line from his leg, and then his arm kind of connects and follows through, and then he has this very rounded shoulder coming down to his leg. And I missed out, but from what I said in the previous video, that better to miss the leg, miss the missing area of the leg, than try to squeeze the anatomy to fit the page, and being both wrong to not plan well enough for the entire figure, and also squash the anatomy, causing the anatomy to just be inaccurate. But yeah, he has very defined calves here that's just sort of edging out. Most people seem to just have like regular curve, but this just has sort of a hard edge to it. Something I also noticed from the previous time that he was sort of modeling. Sadly, I didn't have enough time to sort of draw like these sort of very large definitions of his back. It would look really nice to sort of give a shape here. Right now it sort of looks very flat. I don't think I gave enough sort of definition on his head as well. I maybe could have tried to like give something on his hair to at least sort of give a little bit more shape. The next thing is sort of the angle of where the feet actually is sort of facing straight back at us instead of diagonal, sideways. And then a little bit on his arm where it comes out and then straight down. I think there could be a little bit more definition there. But the butt looks okay. Nice butt. Or not. This sort of first leg goes a little bit sort of straight and then down. This is sort of going down and then down some more. So it needs to like sort of go up. It needs to go up and then it goes down. So we'll take note of that for next time. Next pose looks sort of simple, at least sort of to me. Again, tried to like draw this sort of long line down to measure, but ended up his head very small in comparison to the rest of his body. And yeah, pretty much. Um, we could almost maybe compare side by side. I didn't really um, prepare it to be sort of drawing lines, but if these lines are anything to indicate, I would say that maybe the body that I've drawn is too long, that there's more space needed for his head. Feel free to leave a comment below if this analysis is sort of correct or in the general area. Um, but yeah, just now, just sort of measuring the two sides, seems like the body is too long, and so the head ended up being too small and not having enough space. And I think that's just sort of the biggest issue. The next issue that happened during drawing was that this one was sort of a 90-degree angle, when in this case this is actually going upwards. So because of the wrong angle, I had to sort of stretch the arm down, and it felt really weird trying to draw this hand connecting to the knee over here, all because of this wrong angle, and it's supposed to go up instead of sideways. No idea how or why I sort of thought to draw it sideways, but I only realized that it was wrong after I tried to draw the hand to connect to the knee, and realizing, oh shit, I really need to stretch that hand. I kind of fucked up somewhere. I thought at first maybe I drew the leg too long, but now to compare, this is why I sort of do it for myself sometimes. Right now is to sort of see, the leg is actually pointing upwards. Very interesting. Next image, sort of fucked up at the back of the leg, also front of the leg too. I thought in the time-lapse video that you saw in the beginning, it's like, yeah, I got this body nice and done, this is gonna be a great pose, and then it's like, shit, the legs once again. This head feels, or top of his head feels a little bit flat. This is sort of a common thing that I sort of see myself even before Figuary, that sort of the top area is always cutting off. And I think maybe inexperienced drawers also sort of have problems, since it's about like drawing hair, but that's just a theory. But yeah, certainly need to just add a little bit more brain or skull on top. And this is also why people sort of do skull studies instead of what we might think to just draw straight faces. But drawing the skull is also quite important in studying the anatomy. But yeah, even though I sort of missed out on the leg, I think the angles on the legs are a little bit better in comparison to at least the previous one. Had okay posture of the arm, it's sort of coming out and giving small details where I can in the bicep and the shoulders here. And sorry about like this sort of reference image being like much smaller than others, but yeah, because of his sort of forearm is curving to the front, I think it sort of gives this, again, curving to the front kind of feeling to it, just because of this area once again. But that's sort of all I have to say for now. Let's go to the last photo. And this one, once again, it's like, shit, I kind of messed up. Clearly, I'm not gonna even try to hide it. Yes, this is another spot of the page that I quickly just put on to draw the last part of the leg. But there are bigger problems than sort of this spot, that after, in the end, like I exaggerated this curve a little bit too much, and I think I made the body a little bit too long. And because I curved this one so much, the curve within the insides, is also a little bit too curved as well. I'm missing out, or really missed this sort of waist area, which I think gives a lot of cool shapes. Sort of this area, and then this inner gives this very cool bending shape. Not really the outer. The outer one is sort of smooth, but I just feel like this shape definition and information is all in the inner waist area. kind of try to sort of do what I can, and again, not going to erase my mistakes. I think that's just part of my personal exercise to just be accurate first time. But sort of this side is still sort of considerably smaller, not much smaller, but it's the smaller side, while this is sort of the open side. Um, but even so, because of his arm position, he's technically stretching it outwards, so there's like a lot of stretching in the muscles over here. And that's sort of why I sort of try to sort of give this sort of very smooth, like a stretching, while this is a little bit more boxy, it's a little bit more contracted in here. Um, Head again, I think maybe is a smaller than reality, and sort of important to measure sort of this area where this shoulder comes out of, kind of mess in this small area and putting this shoulder muscle a little bit too close to the face and trying to hide it with the shadows. Maybe this bicep again is a little bit too skinny and too short, and that's like no good really. Um, this leg comes out a little bit too much. It needs to come a little bit more straight towards the camera. Now that I sort of can see it much clearly in comparison, didn't really notice it. And again, because of this sort of harder curve, this leg then I feel is too close to the other foot, when there's like clearly a space in between the foot and the other leg, and it's also a little bit smaller than I think the actual leg itself. Um, but yeah, that will be it for the self critiques. It's a little bit longer than normal, just sort of spotting a little bit more things that I would like to point out to myself and to talk about in general. But hope you all enjoy and see something new within the post. And I will see you all next time. Bye for now.